Welcome to TYT's A Conversation. It is your host, Adrienne Lawrence, and today I am joined by the Executive Director of the Alliance for Youth Action. That's Dakota Hall. Thanks for joining us, Dakota.
Well, thank you so much for having me on tonight.
Yes, I'm very happy you are here, particularly given the significance of this week. I know that April 4th through 8th is the Alliance for Youth Action's Dream Not Debt Week. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this week we are reminding President Joe Biden that it was young people who got him elected, and it was young people who put him in with the demand to cancel student loan debt. And over a year after his presidency, we're still waiting on action. And so with the lift of his pen and signing an executive order, he can eliminate over about $1.8 trillion in student loan debt, making sure that young people, and not just only young people, but older folks as well too, with almost millions of folks over the age of 50 with student loan debt. This is an issue that impacts everybody across the board.
Yes, and there are so many people out there who are impacted by student loan debt. And having a week like this where we're focusing on dreams and not debt, I think it's so incredibly important as you all and your organization focuses on helping people build a better future where they have financial freedom. And it seems that Joe Biden has given us a little bit more freedom as of yesterday, where he announced that he is going to halt the federal student loan repayment deadline, extending it from May to August 31st. I'd love for you to share with us why this just isn't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the first time that it's been extended, right? We're on a few extensions now, and we know if we can keep extending it, we're essentially canceling it. But instead, Joe Biden and his administration is not giving the communities that need it the relief necessary, and formalizing canceling it. Kicking it down the road is causing many people's anxiety about when these payments will be restarting and what they need to do to plan for their financial future, especially in a moment in which the pandemic is still hurting the economy. And now we're facing hyperinflation where the price of gas in some communities is $6 or $7. That is unacceptable. And President Joe Biden needs to not just extend the forbearance payments, but really cancel student loan debt and ensure that young people and communities across this country have the economic mobility necessary to move up.
Yeah, because kicking that extension down the road now to August 31st, it just isn't really great for anybody, particularly those who are hoping to get more Dems and young people out to the polls for the midterms. We know that it's set for Tuesday, November 8th. And so what do you think is going to happen between this time, between August 31st and November 8th? Because if Biden doesn't try to do this extension thing again, it would seem that it would hurt any chances of getting the Dems to hopefully really be the winners and take the midterm, if that's even possible.
Yeah, I think failure to really hold up his promise around canceling student loan debt will send a clear and loud message to young people that their priorities are not being heard. And so young people are going to go out to the polls and ensure that they're being held, that elected officials are being held accountable, and not just vote on party lines. They're voting for people who value their issues, who value their communities, and are going to hold up their promises. So without the economic relief that Joe Biden promised by canceling student loan debt, young people are going to not only turn out at high rates to say that they are not happy, but Dems will be in trouble across the nation.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There are a lot of us who still have student loans, and I myself included. And the thought is that there is this dream that you are pursuing when it comes to higher education, but it turns out simply to be a nightmare when it comes to the financial load that you have to bear. In addition to the fact that the job market and wages have not necessarily improved. And so to get those opportunities to repay the debt seems to be also a nightmare in its own. And I think a lot of people don't fully appreciate that federal student debt has grown 7 times over from 187 million to 1.4 trillion, and that's between 1995 to 2017. So it just seems like there are a lot of unfulfilled promises when it comes to this American dream, particularly with education, right?
Yeah, I mean, at an early age, you're taught if you work hard, you go to college, you'll be set up for the American dream, right? You'll be able to have a good middle class job that is providing you with the resources necessary to go buy a home, buy a car, start a family, etc. Right? But the reality is that we have massive barriers to education, and a lot of that begins with the cost, right? And who is at the forefront of these barriers are communities of color, right? When we think about disproportionately impacted communities, it is usually Black and brown communities who are the ones who are getting preyed upon by predatory lending companies for private college and higher education institutions, as well as they are the ones who are usually straddled with more public debt because the resources are not there in order for them to graduate at the same rate as their white counterparts and peers inside these institutions. And so when we think about the debt and we think about the American dream, it is again a facade for often communities of color to achieve that even through the higher education route, because there are disadvantages in education that leave Black and brown communities and Black and brown young people with higher levels of debt and the inability to pay them because their wages are lower compared to their white male counterparts in every single level.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be that Black and brown people are held back in the system from the beginning all the way through at every step of the process, whether it's saddled with more debt. Also, the fact that we don't have the generational wealth because the system was not structured to support us, if anything, to hold us back and prevent us from having things like property ownership. Also, the tax situation, evaluation, everything that has come down the pike has held people back. And so I know the NAACP had issued a statement earlier today acknowledging that the student loan issue is really one of racial justice and some sense of reckoning. Do you think that Joe Biden appreciates this?
I'm not sure President Biden appreciates that. I haven't heard that come out of his mouth yet. So I would encourage him to speak on the issues and understand it in an intersectional lens that really highlights the fact that he understands that the student loan debt crisis is something that impacts communities of color and also has a gender analysis there as well too, which women and gender non-conforming individuals come out with higher debt as well too. We have not heard that come out of President Joe Biden's mouth in a meaningful way that he's going to take action and understands the historical barriers, right? Like as you just mentioned, when you think about generational wealth, one of the greatest ways to create generational wealth for a lot of folks was like buying a home and passing that down, right? But we know that communities of color faced redlining, right? And they're facing a new type of redlining when it comes to the access to higher education and having that amount of debt.
Yep, and also it's just something too when you enter the labor force and you know that you're less likely to get a job or you're less likely to be paid fair wages. And so it just seems that, again, all these hurdles are built within the system and that Joe Biden has an opportunity right now to make that historic and life-changing decision for so many people out there and remove some of this debt. And when I say some of it, we know that the White House released a statement very recently saying the president supports Congress providing $10,000 in debt relief. And he continues to look into what debt relief actions can be taken administratively. While $10,000 sounds good, I would say that ain't enough.
Yeah, I would agree with you. $10,000 is a down payment, right? Like that is the first installment payment of many other $10,000 payments that Joe Biden owes young people for putting him into the White House. Young people came out at a historic rate of 50% to help elect President Joe Biden with the mandate for student loan debt relief. We did not vote for $10,000 in relief. We voted for eliminating and canceling student loan debt and also setting up future generations to achieve the college dream without debt. That is what we voted for. That's what we're planning on holding President Joe Biden accountable for until he gives us what we voted for. And $10,000, while will be welcomed, is not enough. That is the first step in many steps if that is his plan of action.
Absolutely, it's not enough and we deserve more, we need more. And as far as I'm concerned, we're entitled to it. And so if there are individuals who wanna get involved and wanna find out more about Alliance for Youth Action's Dreams Not Debt Week, what can they do? What is there?
Yes, please go to our website or follow us on social media, the Alliance for Youth Action. On our website, there is a tab there that says Dreams Not Debt. Join the campaign, share your story about what it would mean for you to eliminate student loan debt and what that future and what you want to achieve if you didn't have that debt, right? And really show us those dreams so that we can have a national amplified voice about what it means to eliminate student loan debt. For that way, the White House and the administration can no longer ignore the promises that they've made and that we can keep holding them accountable day by day, even beyond this week.
Yes, I definitely think that this is something that needs to be done. And I know there's so many of us across the United States who also agree as well. Can you tell me, is there any support for this when it comes to Congress?
I think overall, Congress hears our voices, but they need to go further, right? Like there is definitely support within the House of Representatives, but we have always stalled with the Senate and the slim majority there, right? But I know across both political parties, young people are in favor of this issue of eliminating student loan debt. It is not a partisan one-sided issue. It is a bipartisan issue for young people to tackle this issue. And I think the more that they understand their power and the more they come out at high voter rates in midterm and general elections, Congress can no longer ignore this, right? And they will be able to put forth powerful bills in both the House and Senate that will be passed, and the president must sign them.
Yes, that is something that we definitely would like to see done, and I would like to think that it is a bipartisan issue. But it's just so interesting to me how our government doesn't seem to see that, and the thought that they should allow that these educators continue to capitalize on us, to leverage us, and especially with this false sense of hope that this getting our education is going to lead to a better life. It's a very upsetting thing, as well as it's just disappointing. But a lot of our government is, and hopefully those things will change and turn around. So for all of those out there who are viewers and watching and are interested in getting involved with Alliance for Youth Action's Dreams Not Debt Week, which is this week, or just to follow more about what Alliance for Youth Action, what it does, where should they find you on social media?
Yeah, at the Alliance for Youth Action on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then our website, allianceforyouth.org. And join the campaign, join one of the many organizations within our network. We have 20 across the country. We are ready to take action, and we are ready to be the political home for young people across the country.
Yes, thank you so much for all the work that you do and also for leading this movement as we need change. That's Dakota Hall, Executive Director of the Alliance for Youth Action. Thank you again for joining us, Dakota.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.